Hello students, today our topic of discussion is isolation and screening of industrially important microorganisms. Generally, in any fermentation process, the success of the fermentation process or a failure of the fermentation process solely depends on the microorganism itself. Finally, because the how as efficient the microorganism is, that economically and that efficiently the raw products will be converted into our end products, and finally the economy will be improved in a fermentation process, both in a downstream process and a upstream process. So today we are going to see how efficiently microorganisms can be isolated from different sources, and how they can be used for our purposes to be filled. Okay, so if you like my channel, please subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, please like it. If you don't like this, just dislike it, and please follow my channel regularly for the video updates. Thank you. And now we are going to start our product start our lesson. So generally the economy of the process largely depends on the type of microorganisms we are using. So generally what we see in a microorganism when we select for a series of when we select for the microorganism for the purpose of fermentation, so that can be listed as some points. That is, the microorganism should grow on a cheaper source, like if you if you are going for a large scale production, the carbohydrate source, the nitrogen source, and other vitamins, etc., are to be required and are to be supplied. If you are going to do this in a small laboratory, you are going to use your expensive media, which is produced by either by High Media, Sigma Ultrach, or any other company. But when you are going for the large scale production, then you have to think of the economy. Whole economy is dependent on your byproduct, on your raw products which you supply. So as cheap the raw product is there, the economy will be improved. So the microorganism should be able to grow on cheapest sources, like suppose a carbohydrate source is there. So regularly if you want to supply glucose, you can't go and purchase pure glucose. So the microorganism should be able to grow on cheapest source of glucose, like cheapest source of glucose means starchy material, like the waste material. Okay, like molasses is full of molasses is having high amount of sucrose, which can be hydrolyzed into glucose and fructose. So this glucose should be utilized, this molasses should be utilized must be utilized by the microorganism, so that the molasses is cheaper than pure glucose. So the microorganism should be able to utilize this source. Okay, that is the cheapest source of cheapest source of substrate. Okay, next thing is, it should grow well in ambient temperatures, preferably at mesophilic temperature, and excuse me, why we are saying this ambient temperature is, generally the room temperature and the environmental temperature will be in this range only, ambient 30 degrees to 40 degrees centigrade. So even if the microorganism is able to grow at 40 degrees or 30 degrees centigrade, that means the microorganism is efficient enough, and your cooling cost or heating cost will be reduced. If you are going for a thermophilic microbe, you have to heat the process and it costs some energy. So that can be stopped. At the same time, if the microorganism is psychrophilic or it is submesophilic, like when it is growing below 20 degrees centigrade, you have to cool the tanks, fermentative tanks. So those from the cooling costs and the heating cost will be generally reduced when you choose a microbe which can grow well at 30 to 40 degrees centigrade, and it should yield high quality end product. Finally, your goal is to produce an end product, and the end product, if it is not having a quality, no one is going to purchase your end product. So your end product should be having a high quality, should be a high quality one, and the high quality end product should be produced by the microorganisms efficiently. Then your downstream processing cost will be reduced, and it should possess minimum reaction time with the equipment used in the fermentation process. So minimum reaction time for the production of end product, the incubation time should be reduced by the fermentative mechanism. Okay, if you are going to use this microbe and you are going for a batch fermentation of 30 days, 40 days, then that is not the what do you say, that cannot be said as a preferable microorganism. If the fermentation process is going to be completed within 3 to 4 days, at the max 7 days, that is an economical process, and that is an economical microorganism. And next one is, it should possess stable biochemical characteristics. Means biochemical characteristics of the microorganism should be stable. Means if this whatever the carbohydrate substrate, whatever the nitrogen source you are supplying, that should not alter the biochemical properties of the microbe. So genetical constituents, and the next thing is the microorganism should also be genetically stable. Whenever you are using a different substrate, if the microorganism is going to alter its genetic makeup, and every time the mutation is going to happen, that is not a good microbe to be isolated and to be used. So its biochemical and genetical stability is a must thing which you should see. And next thing is, the microbe should produce only our desired product, and it should not produce any undesirable product or a toxic product in our fermentation medium. Means if an undesirable product is produced or else a toxin is produced, there will be extra burden of purifying the toxin. At the same time, there will be every chance that the toxin is finally not purified and is along with the final product, and that will be a huge concern of human health and other final usage problem. So that has to be avoided. And it should have a maximum growth, optimum growth at minimum time and minimum temperature, and it should easily be cultivated on large scale. Okay, so finally we can define screening as the process of detection, isolation and separation of microorganisms of interest from a large population of microorganisms by using highly selective techniques. Okay, so I am repeating this. This is the process of detection of the microorganism and also isolation of the microorganism, and not only isolation, the separation of that microorganism from the large pool of microbes. Okay, separation of microorganism of our interest from a large pool of microbes using highly selective techniques is known as screening. Okay, so isolation and purification of microbes from a natural environment will be a lengthy process, and it should be done because the efficient microorganisms will be available only in the source, that is natural resources. Then generally the natural resources of the microorganism is either air, water or the soil, and soil is the richest source of microorganisms than air, and some microbes are present in water also. So we have to see what is our final destination. Regarding by having a final destination, then only we can choose what is the source of microorganism. If you are going for an antibiotic resistant fungus, and if you are searching it in water, you may not be finding antibiotic producing microbe in water or air. It is generally present in soil only. So you have to finally choose what is your final motto of fermentation, and then you have to see how the fermentation how the microorganism has to be selected and what source you should select. Okay, so and it is a time consuming, as I said, finding a microorganism which is efficient enough finding a microorganism which is efficient enough from soil, because the soil is a rich source of microorganisms, and 1 gram of soil may harbor nearly 10 to the power of 9 to 11 microorganisms. 1 gram of soil. So from those 10 to the power of 9 to 11 microbes, you have to isolate one single efficient microbe. So that one single efficient microbe has to be isolated. That is a huge time consuming process. So this may be the screening process may be divided into two parts. That is, first one is primary screening, the next one is secondary screening. The primary screening, the main important concept of primary screening is the using some elementary techniques. You have to isolate the probable microbes which may be useful for your fermentation process. The probable microbes for your fermentation process are the microbes which you have to isolate in your primary screening. Only after this you have to go for a secondary screening, from the microbes which you have isolated in primary screening. You will be isolating the best microbe from the microbes which we have isolated already in our So this is our first part of the video in this series, and I will be doing one more video in primary and secondary screening in detail. If you like this explanation, please like the video. If you don't like, dislike it, and subscribe it for more updates. Thank you.